saw Bruce in a certain light. Well, I wasn't even born in those Olympics, but growing up, you have Bruce. You look at Bruce in a certain light because you're like, oh, he's like the alpha male. He's the greatest athlete ever. He's this. He's that. And we really did not know. Nobody knew. Except for him, that he was battling with these internal things going on with him. And so while he was the manly man, on the inside, he was a girly girl. He felt different on the inside. And listening to Caitlin tell her story about, how she went through this whole thing, by herself at home, just kind of just secluded, just so that she didn't have to deal with paparazzi and everything that we are in America, that we are in society. We're nosy, we're ignorant to a lot of things, and those things that we're ignorant of or ignorant to, then we turn our nose up to it and say cruel and evil things because we don't really understand. And it was just unbelievable. And so last night, Caitlyn Jenner, the athlete formerly known as Bruce, gave an emotional speech aimed towards the transgender community as she accepted the Arthur Ashe Courage Award last night.
This transition has been harder on me than anything I could imagine. And that's the case for so many others besides me. For that reason alone, trans people deserve something vital. They deserve your respect.
Yeah. That was Caitlyn Jenner last night at the ESPY Awards during the Arthur Ashe Courage Award presentation. And you know what? It was good to see like the whole Jenner Kardashian clan sitting there. I think they were like 3 rows deep. I didn't see his ex-wife, Mrs. Kardashian or Mrs. Jenner, Chris. But we had talked about that earlier in the week that he didn't invite her or she didn't invite her. But very, 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 very good to see that Caitlyn has as much support as she does. Now, me and Mike, we had a gentleman's bet. It wasn't even a bet. We just said, chest out or a closed chest. And so Mike won the bet because he said closed chest. So very good, Mike. But yeah, just that, I don't know. Just sitting there listening, Caitlyn made some great points, and I look, I'm still ignorant to a lot of this. I'm just going to be real. I'm ignorant to a lot of this, but I understand that there is a struggle there. There is an internal struggle. But for the courage, I salute the courage if nothing else, because how many of us right here, right now, living in these United States of America, if you were dealing with like an internal issue with yourself, how many of you would really be brave enough to tackle it head on, if you will? I'm just saying. I mean, I don't think if I was dealing, and it doesn't have to be anything to the extreme of being transgender or anything like that. It could just be, I don't know. Maybe you want to, maybe you're interested in trying something different of a different persuasion. I'm trying not to really go too far over the cliff, but maybe you're having those thoughts, right? Maybe you're having those thoughts. You're a girl and you're thinking, oh, maybe I want to be with a girl, or you're a guy and you're thinking the same thing, and but internally that you can't, you can't do this because of what might happen if you get found out. I'm sure there are hundreds or if not thousands of people dealing with the same thing that Bruce Jenner dealt with before he made the transition to Caitlyn. When you talk about millions and millions and millions and millions of people, yeah, it has to be thousands. But everybody doesn't have the courage. So, again, congratulations to Caitlyn Jenner on winning that Arthur Ashe Courage Award. Now, sticking with ESPN, if you see the title of tonight's show, The Great Talent Exodus of 2015. And I know some of you might have looked at that and said, what is that? Well, the mothership, ESPN, the worldwide leader. 2015 just hadn't been a good year for ESPN. Earlier this week, we talked about ESPN losing, well, that was last week, losing subscribers, losing money. We saw Bill Simmons from Grantland. We saw him make an exit from ESPN. And then last week, we heard about Keith Olbermann, being released, or not being released, but following the end of his contract, he'll be out of ESPN. And then, lo and behold, today, we get the word, and this is according to thebigleague.com, that Colin Cowherd is leaving ESPN. Now, if you ask me, out of all those shows on ESPN, I would have to say that Colin is probably the most prominent show on that network. You have Mike and Mike that I'm really not a fan of. I prefer to watch Mike and Mike on TV, if I am doing something, but I don't listen to that on the radio. Colin Cowherd, I think, is the leader. We had the SVP and Russillo. I mean, then you've had different evening shows and Bomani Jones, The Right Time. You have Freddie Coleman. I mean, you have some cats that are really good on the radio. But for ESPN to lose Colin Cowherd, this is going to be major right here. And when Bill Simmons, when he left ESPN, I talked about it right here on this show. I did not know the man's name, but there's a guy named Jamie Horowitz. Who is Jamie Horowitz? Jamie Horowitz is the president of Fox Sports. Well, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that at one point, well, it means he's the president of Fox Sports. But giving you the backstory, he used to work at ESPN. And he is the guy that was responsible for helping Bill Simmons get over to ESPN. He was responsible for several of these players that had been at ESPN. He also produced Sports Nation with Colin Cowherd and Michelle Beadle. And so when the whole deal went down with Simmons, I was saying that, rumor had it that he was going to be looking to lure some of ESPN's other talent away from the mothership. And so it is being speculated right now that Cowherd is headed to Fox Sports. Nothing has been confirmed as of yet. But if you ask me, I think that's where he's going. And this is unbelievable for ESPN, because the other thing that I was hearing, because I keep my ears close to the street, was that one Skip Bayless could possibly leave. And if Skip Bayless leaves, then more than likely Stephen A is going to leave. And and on the TV side, they are ESPN's number one show. So you take that show away from ESPN, and you take those guys away from ESPN and put them on Fox Sports, then you have a lot of familiarity. I mean, because I just admitted the other day that it's a rare occasion that I even watch Fox Sports, let alone listen to it, because my Sirius satellite radio is not even hooked up in my car right now. But a guy like Colin Cowherd, I consider, because Colin is one of my favorite guys. Now, he gave me a bit of wrong information a while back. He was talking about Alfred Morris, the running back with the Redskins, and he was talking about, he was like, yeah, he went to an HBCU, that's really amazing, great story. Went down to Florida A&M. And my ears immediately perked up. And I don't know how many of you have heard me tell this story. Ears immediately perked up. I go, huh? Alfred Morris went to what? And so me being a dummy, without even going back, how long would it have taken me to go back and fact check Colin Cowherd? It wouldn't have taken long. But instead of doing that, I take that to Mike. Well, me and Mike were on the air with Joe Taylor, the former coach at FAMU. And we were talking to him, and I was like, oh, yeah, coach, so, how proud of you of your guy Alfred Morris that came from your Rattler program and is now, tearing it up in the National Football League with the Washington Redskins. And he goes, oh, well, I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of all the rest of my guys. He just kind of just glazed over, didn't even go, what, Rob? Where you get that information from? Now, he didn't even do me like that, and I appreciate it. But anyway, I consider Colin to be a pretty savvy guy, to be a forward thinker, a progressive thinker, if you will. And maybe the writing's just on the wall up there in Bristol. And maybe he knows something that we don't. As I mentioned, we've already heard that they're losing subscribers, they're losing this, they're losing that. And I don't know what the Fox Sports numbers look like, but maybe they're trending up. It's being reported that Cowherd's show brings in like $18 to $20 million for ESPN. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how much money that is for ESPN. I know that when I sit back and, that's a lot to me. But Cowherd is quoted as saying that in the next 5 to 10 years, he doesn't even think radios will be in cars. He thinks podcast, digital, and Sirius radio, Sirius satellite is the future. And as far as AM radio goes, he thinks AM radio is gone in 5 years. So again, I think he's a forward thinker, and maybe there were more opportunities at Fox, or there will be more opportunities if that is indeed where he goes. But this is a bad look for ESPN. Like, I don't know how many, I mean, maybe they're going to go with the Fox philosophy and just put hot chicks on the air. Because I don't know, this is a bad look. If this is, this would be your third major talent losing this year. Third major. He's more major on the radio side than the TV side, even though they still had that, the Herd, I think it was like a little 30-minute Herd show. But yeah, this is going to be a terrible look for ESPN if this is indeed true. All right, so before we get ready to go to break, and we have about 2 minutes, I told you earlier that we were going to be talking about delicious girls or delicious women, shaved cats, Jesus, and the NFL's worst football fans. So where do you want to start before we go to break? Huh? Anybody? All right, well, if you're going to leave it up to me, then I'll say shaved cats. All right. Not what you think, though. Now, cats wandering around British Columbia or a British Columbia neighborhood are returning home with unscheduled haircuts. Residents of Campbell River say a prankster has been shaving felines that are allowed to roam the area in recent months. Now, one owner says her cat has patches of hair shaved out. If you go shave the cat, you got to make sure it's shaved all the way, right? Right? Well, she said her cat was shaved at least 5 times since January. See, what is this? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So this is the 7th month, and your cat has only been shaved. I don't think that's, well, anyway. But they say it's better for cats to prowl at night. Oh, my God. This thing is going all bad. Well, they say that it's better for cats to prowl at night since the clippings only happen during the day. So what they're doing is they're letting the cats out at night so they don't get cut up during the... Okay. All right. There's just no way around this. No way around this for me. All right, so coming up after this break, SEC Media Days wrapped up today in Hoover, Alabama. And we had Ole Miss, LSU, and our old ball coach right here in the state of Georgia, Mark Richt, with a nice little crew cut. Mark Richt cut that thing down. He got the little army cut going on. So he spoke and said a few things and, talked about a few things that Georgia needs to do. And I think everybody will be in agreement with that. We'll talk about that and more.